The CTA would like us to believe that there is no ban, therefore no discrimination against Shukden practitioners. Unfortunately, their efforts to invalidate the allegations on the ban, including this new documentary entitled Shukden Protesters: Allegations versus Facts, are flawed. Let me elaborate why I say they are flawed. 4 minutes and 37 seconds into this video, Sikong Losang Sangye states that these allegations on the ban are baseless without evidence. That is not true. How do you explain the signs that are placed publicly outside shops, clearly denying the entrance and service to Shukden practitioners? How about public signs denying medical aid to Shukden practitioners that are hung outside monastic clinics? As far back as August 1998, the Department of Religion and Culture demanded that Garden Shakje Monastery expel all monks who are still devoted to Dorje Shukden. One more. The Department of Security in May 2000 issued a letter to the abbot and administration of Garden Shakje Monastery prohibiting monks from attending DS events. In fact, they were asked to, in fact, maybe not asked, but a stronger word, directed to identify and expose the monks who would attend DS events such as the annual Great Prayer Festival in Nepal. Now, you tell me, if that is not marking the journey of discrimination, what is? Next, children go to schools. That is true. But what he failed to expand on is, while the children are in school, and as long as their parents remain the practice of Dorje Shukden, these innocent children, young children, are identified, scrutinized, isolated, and bullied to the point that they have to be taken out of school. Now, in 2014, there was a Q&A session at the Tibetan Children's Village, TCV, school. And during this session, Sikyong Losang Sangye was questioned about the DS ban and the resultant discrimination. The children asked specific pointed questions such as, why does the CTA continue attacking Shukden practitioners? Why not have a dialogue? Why not resolve this issue? And they said clearly that this attacks on Shukden practitioners is causing disunity in the Tibetan community. Later, they also asked, how come the Sikyong claims that nobody has been expelled from Tibetan community, yet the children have read in Ume Lam books authored by Dalai Lama himself that Dorje Shukden practitioners should not support Ume Lam. The students further confirmed that they witnessed discrimination because they have seen those signs that are publicly hung against entry of Shukden practitioners into shops, restaurants, etc. Lastly, which I think it didn't please the Sikyong at all, is when the children said that Shukden practitioners are also Tibetans and should therefore be given religious freedom, and was asked that maybe the CTA follow the Indian government's way. Based on his facial expression, please take note that he wasn't pleased with this session at all. Medical services and facilities are provided, he says, and that is correct. However, they are not provided to Shukden practitioners. Signs are hung denying them these medical assistance. He further adds that to stay in India and to travel within India, they need the residence certificate, which is issued by the Indian government, endorsed by CTA authorities. He then adds to say that to live in India and travel within India, one needs the RC, which is residence certificate, issued by the Indian government, endorsed by the CTA. And with that, he says that there is no discrimination. But I would like to highlight to you that Tibetans have been living in India since the Tibetan uprising, which was way before the ban was enforced. And these people were given refugee status by the Indian government. And since then, they have been able to live in India and travel within India on refugee status. Now, what is more interesting and critical to think about is the Yellow Book. The Yellow Book allows them to travel outside of India. Now, here's the procedure to get the Yellow Book. Before one can apply for the Yellow Book and get your travel documents, one needs to obtain what they call a letter of no objection from Tibetan authorities. Now, what is the criteria to get such a letter? One must declare that one does not practice Dorje Shukden. If one does, sorry, you're not going to get any travel documents. So, is that not discrimination? To remove your rights to travel? Is that not discrimination just because you practice Dorje Shukden? In May 1998, the Department of Religion and Culture issues a letter to bar the issuance of travel recommendation letters to Dorje Shukden monks and nuns. By this action, I repeat, they are denying travel permission and rights to Shukden practitioners. Therefore, there is discrimination, which makes what Sikyong Losang Sangye say in the video untrue. I would like to add further to this form of discrimination, which is in a letter from Sarah J. Monastery in the year 2002, when the letter states clearly that please proceed to issue the standard recommendation letter and the birth certificate to this applicant who is not a practitioner of Dogel. Again, distinctions, separations, discrimination. Staff members within CTA or who want to join the CTA can do so without any discrimination whatsoever. Then, how is it that in April 1996, the Department of Health issues a letter saying that you can remain as staff if you choose to give up your Dorje Shukden practice, or alternatively, resign? What choice is that? It's a choice that leaves people between a hard place and a rock. It's hard. It makes it difficult. Now, if there is no discrimination, ladies and gentlemen, then tell me, why does the CTA website dedicate one whole section against anti-DS content? Why? Is there no other content for the CTA to publish? Is it that important? And if it is that important, given the content, there is discrimination. In March 2014, the CTA passed a resolution. Now listen to this. They passed a resolution which declares Dogel followers as criminal in history, passed on unjustifiable grounds of causing grave harm to the faith and polity of Tibet under the Chinese government's ploy and in violation of the laws of karma. Since when is karma categorized as something criminal? And the situation is not improving with the times. In fact, it is becoming even more outrageous. Why do I say that? Just recently, in January 2016, Sarah J. Monastery issued identification badges. These badges are to be worn by people who do not practice Shukden. Why? It's like, okay, we won't mark the Shukden practitioners, but we will mark those who don't. It's the same thing. You are still marking. You are still segregating. You are still isolating. The facts and evidence that I have mentioned here is only the tip of the iceberg, ladies and gentlemen. There is so much more evidence, there is so much more discrimination, which ranges from letters issued asking DS practitioners to give up their practice, and also letters expelling them from their monastery, announcements denying entrance of Dorje Shukden practitioners to the teachings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and to violent acts against Shukden practitioners, including physical abuse, death threats. What else do you have? Damaging private property. And ladies and gentlemen, the list goes on. I would like to add one more violent act, which is like a hostile, forceful takeover of Gaden Choleng Monastery, practicing DS, by the monks of Tapa Choling Monastery who have stopped practicing DS, together with the Tibetan Women's Association, forcefully taking over another monastery. Forcefully, not once, but twice. Where are the teachings of the Buddha on compassion and tolerance? Tell me, where? Just because the ban does not affect you directly, it doesn't mean that the ban does not exist. In fact, the sentiments of the ban have gone beyond the borders of India. Let me give you a few examples. In Malaysia, the VBCM, short for Vajrayana Buddhist Council of Malaysia, a self-appointed council, may I add, forbids the association of its members and the general public with Dorje Shugden practitioners. In fact, the letters clearly states distance and disassociate from Shugden practitioners. What is that? Doesn't sound very friendly to me. Again, discrimination. In Singapore, a public notice is displayed at Tek Chen Choling under the guidance of Lama Namdro, clearly stating the rule of not supporting the worship of this spirit, in brackets, Dorje Shugden. And all members are asked to abide to this instruction. Not very friendly again. It's a temple, by the way. Third, the local assembly of Tibetans in Switzerland and Liechtenstein passed anti-Dorje Shugden resolutions despite being famed for neutrality. Like I said, the sentiments of the ban have gone far and beyond the borders of India. Lastly, to further stress this point, watch this account of a gentleman named Dendu, whose father was discriminated in New York because he's a Shugden practitioner.
So actually it was in 2007 where my dad and two of his friends opened a restaurant in Woodside, and the restaurant was called Top of the World Buffets. And when 2008, after the protest in Manhattan, my dad's friend actually told my dad that you should pretend you're, now a follower of Dorje Shugden, so we could still run this business, and start telling people that like you don't talk to your brothers and family members anymore, so you could still run the business. But my dad said, no, I don't want to pretend anything or stuff like that. Tibetan people started coming to the restaurant. They post up letters in front of the restaurant saying, don't go inside this restaurant, it's for the ghost followers, which is, Dorje Shugden. And then actually at night they send rats inside the restaurant. And then in a month they sent 18 letters to the health department saying that there's poison in the food, there's a lot of rats. My dad closed the restaurant because they sent so many letters, and they were posting, and then Tibetan people stopped coming to our restaurant because of that.
Obviously, the Statue of Liberty, a symbol of freedom, has no impression on anti-Dorje Shugden people. Now, from beyond the borders of India, it has embarked into the realm of the borderless world, the internet. Great masters like Ganchen Rinpoche, Geshe Kelsang Gyatso, and His Eminence Tsem Rinpoche are slandered, ridiculed, attacked, sworn at with terrible vulgarities, rude, extremely rude name-calling by all these incessant cyberbullies who are obsessed and obviously terribly negatively influenced by the ban and its discrimination. Ladies and gentlemen, the Tibetan leadership would still want you to believe that there is no ban. In fact, conveniently, it says it is as selectively described as advice to the public, and you are free to choose to follow or not follow what is said, the advice. However, there is too much evidence to show otherwise, to demonstrate beyond any doubt that discrimination strongly exists and continues to persist. Dorje Shugden practitioners are prohibited and barred from basic amenities, from education to healthcare, to buying local supplies, to buying food. Some of the greatest wrongs is not the people who perform the misdeeds, but the people who permit it to happen. As members of the human race, we have come this far to call ourselves civilized, due to the works of our past generations who have bled, sweat, cried for us to come this far in civilization. Today, our children can share classrooms with other children of various racial, religious, and social backgrounds. Unfortunately, to the Tibetan children, this only remains still as a dream because of their parents' choice of faith. Hence, it is impossible for you and I to turn a blind eye to the plight of Shugden practitioners, to the sufferings of Shugden practitioners. They are discriminated against by their own people who share the same dreams, land, traditions, and leadership. The ban, ladies and gentlemen, must end for the sake of humanity. On that note, I thank you for your time. Think about everything I said. Hear and see the evidence. The ban exists, and therefore discrimination exists. For the sake of humanity, the ban must end.